Hiya babes, and welcome back to Around the Campfire. Now I know, it's been a minute. And I just want to go on the record by saying I know I said it's nice to be back, but I have a very, very legitimate reason for taking so long to upload. And it's not the fact that my girlfriend started playing Kingdom Hearts and we both just sort of been dealing with that. No, but in all seriousness, I have been quite busy. Obviously, we're still all in a pandemic, so that's fun. I also moved, if you can't tell. I have a new set with things. Hoorah! I personally think it looks a lot better, but I'm going to be trying some different things out with this space. But yeah, I moved in with my girlfriend, so I've been sort of just getting situated, but now I finally have made time to get some content in the works. Also, I promise part 2 to my Disturbing Movie series is coming soon. It is in the works right now. It is being done. But while those bigger projects are being in works, I still want to be able to put out content that maybe that doesn't lack necessarily in quality, but maybe a little bit easier to make, not such a big video as the Disturbing Movie series. And if you remember, the first video I put on my channel when I came back was a video called Let's Talk About the Grudge, which was I went and saw the 2020 Grudge reboot remake, and it was just sort of a quick sit-down video where I talked about my feelings and opinions on it. And I really like that idea because I don't fancy myself a reviewer necessarily. I think the term review has an inherent context that I'm going to get on here and talk about technical aspects and filmmaking, and that's just not what I do. There's people on the internet who are way better at that than I am. I like to just talk about movies and kind of have a discussion, and so let's talk about, blank sort of feels like a way I can have a more casual conversation. It's basically a long-winded way of saying every once in a while I'm going to do shorter videos like this. But yeah, with that being said, I won't keep you any longer, and let's talk about Host.
Hey, this is all your fault! Not my fault, this is your fault!
So if you haven't heard of Host, the premise is that 6 friends decide to have a Zoom call where they're going to FaceTime with a psychic medium. And we learn that they are going to use this medium to perform a seance over Zoom. Now, if you've ever seen the movie Unfriended, this premise might seem a little familiar to you. Basically, the idea is that the entire movie takes place over a Zoom call on someone's laptop screen. So there's no camera cuts, it's not necessarily found footage, it's more like a screen recording of a laptop. And while Unfriended was enjoyable to a certain degree, I definitely felt like the authenticity wasn't quite as there as they thought it was. It definitely felt very produced, but I can appreciate what they were going for with Unfriended, and I personally enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was necessarily scary. I just thought it was kind of fun. But I heard about Host through Twitter, and a lot of the phrasing I was seeing was, "It is Unfriended done right," and that immediately intrigued me, because I like the concept of a screen recording of somebody's Zoom call or Skype or FaceTime. I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with that. I think there's a lot of cool aspects that you can use in that medium that you maybe not be able to get away with traditional filmmaking. So hearing that, I was immediately set on wanting to watch this movie. I sat down with my girlfriend and we both went to watch this movie. And I gotta say, I loved Host. I thought this movie was incredibly fun. It's just under an hour long, so it's not even feature length, but you can tell there was a lot of passion put into this project, but also just care. These people weren't trying to be super serious. They weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. I think they just wanted to get creative and make a fun movie. Host definitely is Unfriended done right. The authenticity is eerily there. While Unfriended tried to do things like make the cameras freeze or crack up a bit or lose some signal, you start to notice cracks in their system. There's a lot of things technically that don't make a lot of sense. With Host, everything feels like a real Zoom call. Honestly, if you told me they really did screen record a bunch of actors on Zoom, I'd believe you. With the occasional thing like why is someone holding their laptop facing away from them, which narratively speaking, is necessary. The actual technical aspects of a Zoom call are very apparent in Zoom. The technical parts are subtle. Things like lips quite not syncing with each other, or the cameras breaking up but in a very specific way. It felt real. It felt like I was part of a Zoom call, but my audio was just muted the entire time. I really felt like I was witnessing this thing happen. So yeah, the technical aspects are there, and it makes the film feel very authentic. But is it scary? To me, yes, but in a weird way. I wasn't laying awake at night terrified of the Zoom ghost. But this movie is also not a boring, lazy jump scare fest. At least not in the negative context that usually holds. When you think of movies like that, you think of things like the Conjuring spin-offs. Movies that necessarily aren't passion projects, but more cash grabs that they throw a couple of jump scares in, find a spooky-ish villain, and make a couple $1 million. It's schlocky, but not even in a fun way. It's just kind of boring and predictable. When I watch a scary movie, I don't want to be startled for an hour 45 and then just leave feeling fine. I want to feel nervous walking to my car. I want to feel creeped out laying in the dark at night. I want to make my girlfriend have to walk up the stairs with me, or be afraid for my cats to go downstairs by themselves. Now, that's not to say I don't like jump scares. I think they have their place in media, especially in things like video games. And Zoom does this in a way that I like. If you know anything about me, you'd know I love haunted houses. The idea of walking through a weird, atmospheric, creepy vibe, and then boom, a person in makeup jumps. Now, kind of like what I said with The Conjuring, I'm not necessarily laying awake at night thinking of the guy who probably works at Target on his weekdays jumped out at me in skeleton makeup. It's a quick jump and it's fun, and that's what I like about Zoom. Whereas movies like Annabelle or Annabelle Returns or Annabelle Comes Home or Annabelle 4 The Return of Annabelle or Annabelle 2 Electric Boogaloo. You know, things like The Nun, La Llorona, things like that where they are supposed to be scary. They are selling this movie to you like it will terrify you late at night, but they don't. There's no subtle horror, it's just the sound drowns out, a character looks one way, looks back, and the ghost is there. Bah, we gotcha. Host doesn't feel like that. Host feels fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's like walking through a haunted house. Host knows what it is. Every bit of that movie tells me that it is supposed to be a fun minute, even down to the runtime, not even being over an hour. This is a group of friends who got together to make something fun with a spooky atmosphere. These are people who care about horror fans and wanted to make something in this really, really stressful time. There's even messages about quarantining in the pandemic in the film. So can I recommend Host? Absolutely. This is a movie that I feel you can put on with a couple of people or your significant other, or even just alone, and watch and enjoy and smile all the way through, but also feel certain moments of tension and distress. The movie is smiling along with you, and I appreciate that a lot. Host was creepy. Host had moments that were quite scary, but most importantly, Host was enjoyable. A lot of movies, especially the ones I talk about on this channel sometimes, are a lot to handle. The movies I'm watching for my other series are heavy, dark, disturbing, grotesque. And it was so nice to get to just sit down and enjoy a short film. Host was something I could see myself wanting to make when I was in high school. Something I would make with my friends in the garage on our old YouTube channel. The people who made Host have a passion and care for this genre, and it's something that I personally can really appreciate. So, with that being said, I give my official, very serious journalistic around the campfire rating of...
It's spooky.
But thank you guys so much for joining me here on Around the Campfire for this short little video. If all you wanted was the review, then thank you so much for coming by to watch. The next few minutes are just going to be kind of some general updates about my this channel and some of my other content. So if that's all you were here for, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you. And now I'm going to talk about a couple things. So the first thing I need to talk about is this channel. Now, I know in my last video I said it feels really good to be back, and I did mean that, and I really did plan on being back and consistently releasing content. But a lot of things got in the way. As you guys know, it's been a very, very crazy, rough time for all of us. We're in the middle of a pandemic. But after taking a little bit of a hiatus, I feel comfortable making content again, and most importantly, feel motivated to make content again. Mental health is something that's really important to me, and I will never sacrifice that for YouTube. I love you guys who appreciate these videos, but I hope you can appreciate that sentiment as well. The other thing is a comment I noticed on my Grudge video talking about some videos I had to take down. And while I so dearly appreciate that you guys enjoyed those videos, if you don't know what I'm referring to some old creepypasta readings an old friend of mine did in the past. And yeah, I so dearly appreciate that you loved and enjoyed those videos, but for a multitude of reasons, I just was no longer comfortable having them on my channel. Specifically with the fact that I am currently going through a gender transition, and there's just a lot of references to my assigned gender and my dead name and things like that I just aren't comfortable with having out there. But yeah, so as far as Around the Campfire goes, I'm hoping to be posting a lot more. Definitely a lot more videos like this where I come on and just kind of give my quick opinions on horror movies that I've watched, because I think that's pretty fun. And the last thing I want to talk about is my other channel, the Salem Ellison channel, where I host my podcast. Thanks for stopping by. Now, I'm not stopping the podcast. In fact, it's continuing to go. I took a bit of a hiatus from that as well, but I'm officially back. There's actually a new episode that I put up last Sunday, and episodes will continue to go up every Sunday. However, I no longer want to post them to YouTube. The reasoning for that is that it just takes a long time and a lot of effort to get the file on YouTube, and I don't really do a video podcast, so there feels no reason for it. It just feels kind of weird to drop a large file that takes hours, sometimes days to upload, just for it to be only audio. So until I eventually do get a video podcast, which is something I want to do but can't necessarily do right now, the podcast will just continue audio only over on my SoundCloud, which will be linked in the description below. So if you would like to listen to my podcast, you can go ahead and go check that out. And last but not least, I also have a Patreon, which you can go ahead and go support if you so please. That will also be in the description down below. Any bit helps, because making this channel is my favorite thing in the world, and I really want to be able to do it. So if you feel like you want to and can support in any way, it is greatly appreciated. But if not, I appreciate you just being here and enjoying my videos. Okay, we got all that out of the way. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, it has been a wild ride, but I finally feel in a very good place in my life, a good enough place that I want to get back to releasing content pretty regularly. And I'm going to try my hardest to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're looking forward to more. There are definitely more coming. I promise. But with that being said, thank you for joining me here today, and make sure you come back and join us next time as we gather around the campfire.